He was once hailed as a patriot, a man who claimed to protect his people, but history remembers him by another name, the Butcher of the Balkans. This is the rise and fall of Slobodan Milošević, the man whose thirst for power plunged a region into bloodshed and left behind one of the darkest chapters of modern Europe.
Born in 1941 in wartime Yugoslavia, Milošević grew up in a country scarred by invasion, resistance, and deep ethnic wounds. A student of law, he was quiet, calculated, and ambitious. He rose through the ranks of the League of Communists, becoming head of the Serbian Communist Party in the late 1980 SS. And that's when everything changed. In 1987, he visited Kosovo, a Serbian heartland populated mainly by Albanians. During clashes with police, he made a chilling promise to angry Serbs: "No one will dare to beat you again." With that sentence, Milošević became a nationalist icon and unleashed a storm.
As Yugoslavia teetered on collapse, Milošević seized control of Serbia, the largest and most powerful of the republics, and fueled a dangerous ideology: that Serbs were victims, that they had to defend their land, that war was necessary, and when Croatia and Bosnia declared independence, the fires were lit. What followed was a decade of brutal wars, fought not just with armies but with mass executions, sieges, and ethnic cleansing. In Bosnia, the world watched in horror as Serbian forces, backed by Belgrade, encircled Sarajevo in the longest siege in modern history. Nearly 4 years of shelling, sniping, and starvation. In Srebrenica, more than 8,000 Muslim men and boys were slaughtered in cold blood, the worst massacre in Europe since World War II. And in Kosovo, Milošević's forces expelled nearly 1 million ethnic Albanians, torching villages and committing widespread atrocities. But even as international outrage grew, he clung to power, manipulating elections, silencing media, jailing opponents. His enemies were traitors, his critics, foreign agents. He ruled not with laws, but with fear.
By the late 1990s, the world had had enough. In 1999, after failed peace talks in Kosovo, NATO launched a bombing campaign against Serbia. For 78 days, Belgrade was under fire, bridges collapsed, military bases were destroyed, and finally, Milošević backed down. But it wasn't over. In 2000, after a rigged election and mass protests, the Serbian people finally rose. Hundreds of thousands took to the streets in what became known as the Bulldozer Revolution. Parliament was stormed, state TV was seized, and Milošević was forced to resign. He was arrested in 2001 and extradited to the International Criminal Tribunal in The Hague, the first head of state to be tried for genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The trial was long, complex, and historic. He denied everything, blamed the West, played the courtroom like a political stage, but justice never reached its final verdict. In 2006, Slobodan Milošević died in his prison cell of a heart attack before the trial could conclude. He never admitted guilt, he never showed remorse.
Today, his legacy is one of ashes. 140,000 people dead, millions displaced, a region shattered, its wounds still healing. Some still call him a patriot. Most remember the pain, the fear, the bodies buried in mass graves. He promised to make Serbia strong again, Instead, he dragged it into isolation, destruction, and shame.
Because Slobodan Milošević didn't just start wars, he made hate a weapon. He turned neighbors into enemies, and in doing so, he lost everything.